Hello!
Hi guys! Hello everybody, welcome to coffee chat time or
CAFE De Tango!
we couldn't decide which one was the best, so we just keep both. Why not,
Exactly.
right?
Or it could be Tele Tango, if you prefer tea.
Tea, yeah, we can be maybe a little meal. It depends where you are watching this video from, because maybe it's dinner time.
Yes.
Or breakfast. Or maybe it's the middle of the night.
Exactly.
So guys, let us know where you're watching this live from, please.
So this is our very first CAFE De Tango. So the idea is for you to ask questions about tango, anything you like, and you try to respond with the most amount of detail possible. So of course it's going to be a bit delayed between the time that you ask and the time you can answer and look at the screen. So what we'll do is we'll keep an eye on the screen at all times, and we can in this way monitor the questions that are being asked.
Yes, also just a reminder that we are streaming on Instagram and YouTube. So if there's a problem with one of the platforms, you know where you can find us.
Okay, so we are going to ask you if you have any questions about tango, but of course, because it's going to take a little time, that we prepared a few questions that were sent a few days earlier on Instagram, on your platform.
Yes. Shall we jump in right away to the questions?
Why not?
Why not? That's what we're here for, right? Okay.
So let's have a look.
One of the questions that I had from Stuart Yerton, is an Instagrammer. He asked, how has your situation changed with the coronavirus? So how was life before and how is life now?
That's an interesting question. Our life has completely changed to a level that I would not have even thought possible, not even 3 months ago.
It's incredible, isn't it? Because if you think about it, beginning of this year, beginning of 2020, you start the year with all these plans and you're thinking, I want to do this and that, I want to travel. I was doing a lot of traveling and dancing in festivals, and I had all these ideas and all these goals.
Me too, yeah.
And now it's like, okay, so there is this big change.
Big, yeah.
And how are we going to reinvent life, basically?
So I saw something on Facebook that made me laugh. If you have a problem with your computer, you can reset. So the idea was, how can you reset to 2020? I think it's the feeling that we have, how can you reset this year, because it hasn't very begun with a very easy way. But one thing that I'd like to say, of course, we used to have a weekly milonga, which was in London, which is called Los Angelitos, and we had lots of private lessons as well, people coming for privates, both for Paula and myself.
Used to. Not anymore,
yes.
not at the time being.
Used to, exactly. And of course we had our weekly lessons, so I had a few weekly lessons every week. I personally was the organizer of a festival which was due in March. Oops, that didn't actually work out exactly. So a lot of things were planned, of course, and trips. We organized trips to Buenos Aires, to tango trips to other places like Japan. Lots of things organized, and of course the virus came in, and suddenly we had to change everything. So what happens if you can actually talk about
yes,
that, no?
So you have kind of a short time to when something like this happens in life that's completely not expected. You have to think really, what can I do with the circumstances that I have at the moment? Because it's very likely it's not going to change. I remember we had a talk about this, and I said, oh, I'm sure it will be fine, next month life is going to come back to normal. And it was so naive. No. So of course situation kept on getting worse, and within the first week we had the news that the coronavirus was in London and then quickly was going to go into lockdown. We came up with a plan, we had a chat, and we both been working together already for a few years. We both work in London, and we thought, what can we do? What can we do with this situation? So what happened then?
So we started eating lots of ice cream to forget how terrible the situation is. But more interestingly, we came up with the idea. We thought, okay, all our friends, all our students and people who know us, they want to continue dancing even if they are in their home, if they are in lockdown, if they have no partner. How can we help the community continue to thrive despite the fact that we can't dance together, because of course this social distancing means that we can't dance together, and it might be for a little while, unfortunately. So how can we organize ourselves to give a bit of something interesting to the community? So this is where we thought, okay, well, online lessons seemed like a good idea. At that time there was no online lesson in London, and very, very few tango lessons. As a matter of fact, when we started to stream our first, it was just 3 days after we had our very last milonga, before it started to be a very, very kind of a bad situation. So it became too dangerous for us to hold a milonga, and we decided together to, okay, let's close the milonga, but let's go right into streaming. So we just took 3 days only to do everything, to completely replan.
You can imagine the madness, right? Because we have 3 days. We did not have the experience of teaching online. We didn't have any equipment. Everything was so foreign to us, but we thought, okay, the power of two, let's try to do this. We're gonna make mistakes. Hopefully people will understand and they will forgive us, because it's crazy and it's new for everybody. And I'm really happy that we did, because we not only developed a system now that we stream 4 times a week, and we are having so beautiful support and lots of love and beautiful reactions from people all over the world. This was more than I expected. The result was more than I expected. Yeah.
We kind of had a shock. The first time we streamed that Sunday, that's about 2 months ago, we had 195 people coming to see the class, the workshop, and from everywhere in the world. It was absolutely amazing. So we had people
no pressure, right?
Yeah,
like,
from Colombia,
no pressure.
from New Zealand. It was like, wow. So that's such a big, but very, very kind of happy shock in a way. But of course, we had to see how we were starting to stream. So a lot of tango and dance teachers started to stream on Zoom. We decided to do something very different, because we thought, okay, Zoom is interesting. It's a very good platform because we can sell tickets and so on, and we considered it, of course. But we thought, okay, what if we keep it open for people to watch, and then rely on the people, the viewers, for donations? It's a completely different approach. We don't ask for tickets, because we thought, okay, lots of people will be probably in their home, feeling very, very isolated, and maybe some of them won't have a job. Maybe they will be, out of job, and therefore, how can we still help them? Well, we thought, okay, if we keep it open for everyone, then it's a way for us to help people who can't afford online lessons, for example.
So I really think it was a win-win. Really,
Absolutely.
so happy. Thanks again, guys, for your support. We have a related question with what we just said. How did you learn how to do the streaming, use webcams, etc.? Google, YouTube.
So basically, what was really interesting.
Sorry, that was from Steve.
From Steve.
Sorry,
yes.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah.
What was interesting for us is to realize that we had a large channel on YouTube, through the years, and this allowed us to stream on YouTube. Basically, you need a certain number of subscribers in order to be able to stream from YouTube. This is something that is a requirement from YouTube. Therefore, we started to think maybe that's an interesting idea to stream from YouTube and see how it works. So the first time, of course, was a bit of a trial and error. And we found, of course, we had to buy a bit of equipment. We have an extra screen where you can see the questions and so on. The first was a little bit stressful, of course, because we couldn't see the stream from a mobile phone, and it was so small we couldn't see the questions.
So it's normal that when you are doing something for the first time, there is a lot of things you don't know about, right? So you're gonna have to go through the experience of doing all the mistakes. The stressful thing is you're actually streaming live, so you're not going to edit the videos. So something can happen during that moment, and then you might not know what to do.
My personal fear was a drop of internet in case we lose the feed at the middle. But I have to say, it's been brilliant.
Yeah, YouTube has been amazing. Thanks, YouTube. It's been really amazing. Instagram sometimes it gets disconnected, but we managed to get it back as soon as we can.
So this was a question about what happened when we started to stream. We bought some equipment, from webcam to some extra screens, and now we use a couple of PCs because the idea was, whilst we are teaching, we can still monitor what's happening, so we can see what you see. Yeah. And this is the question, the idea we had at the beginning, to try to make sure that there is nothing that is left, with a problem.
Yeah. And bear in mind that every week there's something a little we try to improve, so we learn a little bit with each stream. It's like, oh, okay, that worked, that can work better. What can be added to our checklist, because we do have a checklist before each class to make sure that everything is set and everything is ready, so that in case something happens we always have a plan B. So there is a lot that goes into preparing just for the preparation aspect of these classes. But then you've got, it's so amazing to see that it actually works, so it's so worth it.
Completely. So,
all
let's
right,
have a look at a few other questions. Practicing what you teach a solo dancer, what are the dangers for both followers and leaders, and what to keep in mind not being able to dance in an embrace? That's a very good question.
Let's ask us, thank you for asking this question.
So, unless you want to start?
No, you start.
Yeah.
You go,
so, it's true that basically tango is a dance which is danced with two people. Yes, this is very, very true, and of course it's a challenge when you don't have a partner, you're stuck at home. How can you still dance? One thing that we recommend to everyone, especially if they are by themselves at home and with no partner to dance with, is the fact that you have a couple of things you can do to continue improving your dancing. First of all, and this is something that you constantly repeat, you are able to listen to tango songs. Now, it doesn't sound like very hard to do. It's not hard, actually it's a great pleasure. It's going to make a big impact on how you dance in the future. Yeah, so it's very, very important that you keep on listening to tango, because the more you know the songs, the better dancer you become, and that's it. You know, this is almost like a direct link between the two. The second thing is, of course, you can develop your technique. And technique, sometimes I feel like, I don't know what you think about it, but I feel the term technique is a bit dry, because it almost feels like, okay, I'm a solo dancer, I have to work on my technique. It feels a bit boring. So how can you make it not boring as a solo dancer to continue enjoying your tango? And the key word here is enjoying. So I wouldn't recommend to have something which is too dry, as if, okay, 1.5 of backward shows. Okay, today 90 minutes I'm just going to do backward shows. You can, of course, but it's actually something which is going to be difficult to do. So always alternate between moments when you learn something. It could be a new movement, it could be maybe standing on one leg, improving your balance, and this of course is something that we explore every Friday for technique and styling classes. But also always alternate with something which is more fun. So if you think that for you boleros and anything are a bit more challenging are fun, then make sure that you have this in your practice as well. So very important that you always enjoy it. The moment you stop enjoying, you are going to stop learning as well.
Yeah, this is very true. I totally agree. I think an important key element is balance. So in order to keep developing the dancing, you definitely need the enjoyment, but I personally think, and also because I've had so much dance training and did the dance university, and everything was so focused on having a structure, a way of learning, and being very, very serious about it. I can say that yes, it's important to enjoy and have fun with it, absolutely, but it's also important to give yourself some goals and give yourself some structure. Okay. For example, if you use this time to actually get in touch with what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses as a dancer, it doesn't mean you have to explain anybody, you can just get to this conclusion and you can keep it for yourself. But then once you know, okay, what are my strengths, okay, how can I maybe even capitalize on my strengths, but then what are my weaknesses? Okay, maybe I have a balance issue. Okay, let's see how I can design some balancing exercises in which I can also have fun, but I can also improve.
Yes, absolutely. But ideally, you should always improve and have fun at the same time. Sometimes, of course, it's difficult, right?
Yeah.
So one thing that I'd like to maybe, if I can systematize the approach, what can you do if you're a solo dancer stuck at home with no partner? I would say you have 3 streams that you can have a look at. First is pure technique. Yes, it's tough, but as Paula said, it's also important that you use this time at home to continue improving your balance, how you do your pivots, whatever it is that you need to work on. And this is again something that we develop every single week, with our classes. The second thing I would say is the style. Now this is where, of course, we are talking about maybe decorations, adornos, but also maybe how you walk, you know. Try to imagine or try to explore what would be your style. How would, if someone said, oh, how is this person dancing? Then it would be easy for them, oh yes, I know, he or she is amazing on D'Arienzo because the way he or she moves is exactly with the music, something like that. So this is the styling. And the third thing, which I've already kind of touched upon a little bit, is the musicality. So what I would recommend is, as a solo dancer, is to play the songs that you like and dance on them. Yes, you don't have a partner danceuse, yes, it's more difficult, but maybe you have a bar. Try to imagine what would happen, what would be the ideal dance with that partner if you were in a milonga dancing on that song. So this musicality is going to take some time to develop, but if we all use this time that we have at home to develop that, then when we finally remerge into a milonga, it's going to be amazing. Because, of course, this is something that, this is my experience, and tell me what about yours. I had some online private lessons in the past couple of months or weeks, and it's very interesting that people who really were committed to the tango, now they almost practice and they almost improve more than they used to in the past, because they can't dance with anyone, therefore they really have to work on their body, on the movement, on the precision.
I think it's also a decision. Okay, so we have this moment in history that allows you to go about it in the way that you want. You can decide to take a break, you know, you can decide to actually use this time to improve. It's up to you. But then, even if you don't have a partner, why not to use the time that you're given and focus, and it also gives you the motivation for when this phase is over, just to survive now, to feel better, why not to use this time to actually improve? Now, of course, you can say, well, it's not the same. It's okay, but it's up to you. It's your decision at the end of the day.
One thing that some people do, which I find interesting, is they dance by themselves on a song that they like, and maybe they do it a few times, and they record themselves and they watch themselves. And this is a great tool to see what is working or what's not working, because at the end of the day, everyone is their worst judge, or the toughest judge. You know, when you look at yourself, you're like, oh no, this is not good. Oh wow. So let's work on this. So something that you might want to do is record and film yourself, watch what you've done in this last piece, and maybe if you want to send that video to a fellow tanguero or milonguero, or like a fellow friend from tango, to say, look, I know I'm exposing myself a little bit, but what do you think? Yes, I don't have a partner, but I usually work on my decorations, I work on my speed, I worked on my balance, I worked on my musicality. What do you think? And that's maybe a different way, because everyone is stuck at home, so we are in a very, very funny way a bit more exposed, all of us. So therefore, what I feel in the tango community, and this is something that also relates to another question that we had on the screen, is somehow we are much more forgiving towards each other. When sometime, in the past, in the milonga, some people would actually come to milonga and say, oh, this is not good, this is not good, this is not good, I don't like that, I don't like that. Somehow now that we don't have anything, everything has been stripped from us, we are much more open-hearted.
Yeah, and accepting.
Exactly.
Yeah, and this is actually beautiful to see.
Yes.
Because it might have never happened,
Maybe it's a good reset, in a
Yeah,
way, a good reset for
like
milongas
that.
and tango.
I like that, yeah.
But when everything come back together, we are going to, and I hope so, and this is the way I see it, are going to be much more open and maybe much more generous in our push to tango, where suddenly we help each other a bit more, and it's not, there's not sometimes this feeling that there are different kind of groups of dancers who don't necessarily mix too much to each other.
Yeah.
So now it's actually a good time to reset and say, actually, why am I dancing tango? And I don't know about you, Paula, maybe I can answer the question. I'm dancing tango because I like to dance with someone. I love the songs, I love the music, I like the technicality, of course, but at the end of the day, it's all about this connection which I'm seeking. And now that I don't have it, maybe when I go back to milonga, I'm like, okay, I need to understand that this is an incredible gift that we have when we have milonga open, and therefore I'm going to maybe change the way I see things. Maybe that's
Yes, and also be creative. There's so much positive things, so many positive things to take out of this situation. It's far from ideal, we know that, but there is also goodness in it. So I would say focus on that.
Yes.
and some good ideas that you actually expressed. Should we move on to the next question? There was one from Catherine regarding the balance, which was going in line to what we were just speaking about. So Catherine, Stefan, regarding balance, does that mean better not to use too much the bar? Yes, I would say yes.
Absolutely.
It's important not to rely on something to have good balance. And on the Friday, I give some balancing exercises on our Friday class.
Absolutely.
And I try to bring new exercises every week, so it's something that you may want to watch if you haven't yet. I think actually Catherine is...
Yes.
Yeah, I think she's been a few times.
So yes, a bar is not a must, and also you can use kitchen top or anything at all that you have around you. But remember that when you use an external element, which is not only your body, that means that once you dance with that person, then you are going to use that person for balance. So always keep in mind that the more independent you can be, the better. Ideally, you should be able to do everything by yourself without the need of an extra support. Of course, followers, most of them have high heels, so they need a bit of support from us, obviously. But it's actually a good, always a good thing to practice in a way that you don't need anything or anyone. So by the time you dance, you'll be completely at ease and in your axis.
And also, if you are in isolation, now you have privacy to try. So, you know, just to have that practice of balancing exercises and not always getting it right is fine, okay? It's a process, just go through it. There was a very interesting question from Navi Rose.
Okay, which one is it?
Do you think you might continue on the online after the quarantine is over?
Okay, so let me rephrase. Are we going to continue online after quarantine is over? And the answer is most likely yes, because we understood that the way to teach online and to teach in a milonga or in a dance studio is very different. In a way, it's of course we love the fact that we're teaching in a group lesson, but online offers other opportunities, and also the fact that we can have a program. So in a group we are constantly helping people, and the fact that we're streaming online on YouTube has a big influence on how we deliver that message. Remember, if you're on Zoom or if you're on other platforms, you can see people. We decided that we are going to stream almost like as a one-way communication towards you, and you are able to send us some feedback by messages and by text, but there is no video feedback. This is a choice we've made because we wanted to deliver more content, because in the past we had a few people who said, well, I want this, I want that, and lots of people want different things. So the way to deliver more is basically to concentrate on the actual dancing and the teaching, and maybe not to spend so much time on each individual person. Plus, when you have 120 people, it would be very difficult to have some time for each person. Of course, there will be a bit of challenge. So it's a traditional decision that was made.
Yeah, we have been contemplating this. I think the time right now, it's a little bit questionable, everything, right? Because we don't know how long this is going to last, but one thing is for sure, we've been enjoying a lot to teach online a lot, and we would like to continue. It's not clear how often will it be. This is something to be discussed in the future. We probably will go back to venues soon as we can at some point. But if you are watching these videos from Argentina or from Venezuela, from Texas, or just don't worry, because you will definitely see us online for a longer time.
So I'm looking at the screen. Something from Eno. Before the virus, did each of you practice tango when you are not teaching or performing? If so, what did you do to practice and how often? Interesting.
Yes, I have to think a little, because like I was saying before, it was a very different life we had. Maybe I can start say so. I was traveling a lot, performing in festivals, and when I was doing that, depending on which partner I was working with, then I would practice with them, teach with them, perform with them. Then I would come back to London and have intervals that I would be in London, have my private students, teach with Bruno, practice with Bruno. Now, with this situation, we both are much more focused on this project because this is the reality, the here and now, and we are doing the best with the circumstances that we have. So it has shifted a lot. So what was the next? Yeah.
Okay, I answered to the question.
I think that answered the
You forgot the
question.
question. Okay, all right. How do you practice tango and how often? Tango, you know, there's a very interesting saying. I know it sounds a bit harsh, but I'll say it anyway. It says, you know, if you don't practice tango for one day, my own body knows it. If you don't practice for 3 days, my teacher knows it. If you don't practice tango for 7 days, my public knows it. So yes, tango is something that, in our opinion, should be practiced every day, and this is what we did. Now, we understand that a lot of you are having day jobs. Of course, you can't necessarily practice every day, but when we say practice, the interesting thing is not the regularity is more important than the length, which means that it could be 1 minute in the morning, and maybe that would be much better than 3 hours every 3 weeks, for example. So this is very, very important to mention. So this is what we both
Consistency,
consistency to always practice. So what you practice is up to you. So what you can do is, of course, is to have goals every week. So our recommendation, tell me what you think, is maybe to have only 1 goal per week. You can't have in one session, let's say that you practice 10 minutes in the morning before you go to work, or in the evening. It's not a good idea to say, okay, during my 10 minutes I'm going to work on my balance, my styling, my decorations, my musicality. Is too much, and therefore you will not learn so much. So our recommendation is to say, this week I do only one thing. I'm going to work on balance, and that's it. I'm going to use exercises that were, for example, we give on a Friday evening during the technique classes. I'm going to try this to see how it works. If I need a bit of help, I can always get an online private from a teacher, maestro. But really have 1 goal per week, and then maybe at the end have a bit of thinking and saying, okay, did it work? Yes. Then let's go to the next goal.
But by the way, this is how we work.
Yes.
Personally, we have an hour every day that we said, okay, this time we're going to have our daily practice. We're going to stick to the consistency. Doesn't matter how we feel, we do it. We're fully committed to it. And I think that's really, really helping, because some weeks, and we do focus also maybe on 1 or 2 goals per week, and that's it. But if 1 week maybe doesn't go so well, and you might not see so much progress right away, then maybe the next week you feel it double. So it's really definitely, it's paying off over consistency of time.
When we say 1 hour, for you can be 10 minutes, it doesn't have to be 1 hour. And when it's actually probably a long time for most people here.
Yeah.
But daily,
even half an hour, if it's like half an hour every day and really commit to it.
5 minutes, if this is all you have, you know, you brush your teeth, you have 5 minutes of tango, and also it kind of, for me, it brings a lot of satisfaction, because you think, oh, I've moved my body, maybe I spent a lot of time on the computer, I moved my body, so I feel good, and this is now time to go to bed. This is something that we see all the time, really helping people feel better about their day, and even if they've been stuck at home all day, they haven't been able to go out. You've moved and you listen to beautiful music. Or maybe sometimes not even about moving, it could be about the music itself. For example, on Tanguito's website, I don't know if you see the address, we have lots of songs which we translated from Spanish to English, so maybe that's an occasion to get to know a bit the songs, to get to know what they mean, and this is something that you can do occasionally to get to know a bit the tango. So this is something that we would recommend do, like having this frequent little time for yourself where you do your tango.
Okay, do you want to have a browse at the questions? Thank you so much, guys. We're having so many questions, so we're just browsing through all of them. Thank you again for participating. So
Jack is saying, I was constantly doing the tango from 1983
to
89 in Valencia. However, since I had 2 operations on my hip, can you teach limited mobility milonguero? This is a very good question. Of course, we'll have to think about it. We have set up special courses on the website. Of course, they are privately run, but there are special courses on specific topics. it could be from balance to musicality, and this actually could be one topic. So thank you very much for mentioning that. We're definitely able to develop something for you that of interest.
Yes, and also if you need to have videos for specific themes, you can also order videos on demand for that. So you can talk to one of us. I'm also offering on my current website, PAULA DUARTE Tango, so you can get in touch with one of us and we'll definitely help you.
Interesting question. What is the difference between a good and an exceptional dancer?
I like that. Thank you. Who asked that question?
Here.
Is it big?
Yes, I think.
Big ham?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is a very, very interesting question. Do you want to start?
Well, I have to think for a minute actually.
Okay, sure.
You already have that?
Okay, let me answer what I think. Of course, it's for me. I'm always a little bit careful about this kind of question because it's. I don't think it's always very, very positive to categorize people into this one is good, this one is exceptional, this one is not so good. I think we are all, as a tango dancer, able to offer something to different people. I might be able to offer a lot to one very specific follower, and to another follower not so much. That's because maybe we are more compatible, because maybe we listen to each other a bit more. And I would say the exceptionality, I don't know if that exists, of the dancer is not so much how he does things, is how he approaches tango. For me, someone is exceptional if he or she is able to dance with anyone and bring pleasure to their partner. This relationship of giving pleasure, being satisfaction to your partner is at the core of tango. Remember, it was born in in a very, very simple neighborhoods of Buenos Aires, and these people who started tango back in 1900 had much, basically nothing or not much at all. They were from very, very simple neighborhoods, maybe sometimes with not much means or money, and they just started tango because people were starting to play the music in the streets, and they just started to move. There was no big plan or big agenda. And what they did, the reason they did that in the first place is because there was most likely many more men than women because of the influx of immigration to Buenos Aires for basically to have a look at the silver and the gold. They were gold and silver miners, and lots of men were actually lacking this physical connection with someone else. Of course, they could train together, so there are lots of pictures with men training together, but I think they were training. The idea was to get better so they could invite a lady afterwards, and I always remind myself, why am I dancing tango? Is to create that connection with someone else. So, am I an exceptional dancer? I can't obviously ask the answer to this question, but what I can say is I find someone exceptional if there is generosity in his dancing and the ability to adapt and connect to the other person. So I know some tango teachers, maestros, who are also world champions, and when I look at them, I'm in awe, because I know that specific person is dancing gracefully with anyone. And not gracefully because, oh, well, I need to be graceful for myself, it's a self-reflection thing I'm doing. It's because that person is generous and is trying to really give a heart or give a bit of something to that person that she or he is dancing with. So this is for me how you define an exceptional dancer.
Yeah, so I was having a think about it. I think for me it's the element of freedom, that someone owns everything about their body and their soul, the good, the bad and the ugly. They own it, they don't repress anything, and they dance who they are. And there is a few examples of female dancers that really greatly inspired me, and when I see them moving, it's, look at this woman. She just moves with all her life experience, not just a dancer that is doing steps and doing cute things with the music or having a nice connection with a partner. All these things are really important, of course, but there's something about the way they own themselves. Okay, here it's me, I'm not perfect, but I've done all of this all these years and I'm still studying and I'm there, and this is it, this is the moment here and now, and they embracing all the aspects of who they are. I think this is for me.
Okay.
And then from that results a great sense of freedom, because then you are not, you just, everything flows. You're just in the flow of things and you accept everything.
Okay. So one more question. So question is, how far can you go with online lessons? So I think it's a very, very interesting question. I have to say, when we got into the lockdown and into this problem with the virus, of course, I, myself included, was very doubtful that online lessons, private, would actually work. You know, why would you take private lesson? At the end of the day, tango is to dance with two people, so what's the point? And nevertheless, you know, I had quite a few of my regular students who expressed the desire to continue learning and take privates, but of course through video and not face-to-face. This is very interesting because the first couple of lessons, of course, we had to adapt the way we communicate to each other, because we are communicating through maybe Skype or other means. And it took a little bit of getting used to at the start to understand that I needed as a teacher to structure my lessons differently. Because when you dance, of course, as a teacher, you have a plan in mind, so the person comes. I always ask, okay, if there's something that you want to work on, please tell me, because I'd be happy to have a look. Otherwise, if not, then we start dancing and have a plan in my head, but my plan is always going to be depending on how I feel in the embrace, of course, because the point is to give immediate feedback from the embrace and the dance. So, when you give an online private, you don't have that luxury of feeling how the follower is responding, and for you as a leader is leading, of course. So, having understood that we need to change the structure, I had a very, very interesting discovery. I made an interesting discovery is the online private, especially for solo dancers, you know, men and gentlemen and ladies as well, both of them taking privates. I started to use the fact that yes, it's more difficult to teach because we only go through video, but it's actually also a big plus because I can see the dancer from afar. And then I started to notice a few things that I wouldn't have noticed if I were to dance in close embrace with that person. So in a very interesting way, I started to teach all the things that I would have in a normal face-to-face situation. And what happened is, because of the exercises that I started to build for these online lessons, the people who started to take these private lessons with me or with us, I guess, started to show great signs of improvement. Technique, balance, styling,
musicality. It was the same for me actually.
Yes, very, very interesting.
It was a bit of a surprise because you're not sure what to expect, right? This is completely new. But to actually hear, wow, there's been more improvement than expected.
Exactly. And in a funny way, sometimes I know it's actually very, very comfortable to go and dance with someone, but here you can't because you don't have anyone. You have to really be careful about, you know, how you manage your axis, your posture, your transfers, you know, how you manage the fact that you are using all the body to express something. Because I'm away from you and I can have a look, I have a better view in a way of everything that works in the body. So, interestingly, body mechanics, I can't feel because I can't be with you, but I can see a lot of things which I couldn't have seen earlier. So that was a very, very interesting realization.
Yeah, I had similar experience. Yeah, so I think it's important to realize there's not really need to be discouraged. Of course, there's a normal tendency. We can't have the life now that we knew it before, that we want to go back to. But like I was saying before, there's actually so many wonderful, positive things to really take out of this situation. So this is what we would like you guys to focus on. Do you agree?
I agree completely. I agree. As I said before, this is not, this is a situation which is probably once in a generation, hopefully. Well, touch wood, but this shouldn't be the end of, you know, practicing tango and improving. We think the opposite. This should be used as a great opportunity to get much better at tango. And what I'm thinking, and I could be completely wrong, is that when the milonga hopefully resume, we will see that there is a bit of a step up in terms of people, how they express, how they use their musicality and the technique and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I think the attitude is going to change big time. I'm really curious about that. Okay, so, one more question.
Well, last one. For me, I am reading from the feed. Last comment. For me, not being able to dance was a Dutch horror story. Online lessons help a lot. How much progress watching your students? Do you see how willing are your students to be watched so closely?
Okay, that's an interesting one. Can I just say, there was something that I experienced in the beginning of this phase when I changed from teaching one-to-one in person to online classes. There was a sense of almost feeling awkward to be behind the camera, not knowing how to react, how is this going to work, and this is very new, maybe it was a bit uncomfortable. So there was a little bit of that sensation, does it even work? So this was definitely a common thing that I experienced in the beginning. However, after a few classes, it completely changed. So it's really about getting out of that comfort zone and trying new things.
I agree.
How was it for you?
Yes, I think for me, the online lessons forced me to prepare a lot more exercises, I have to say. So rather, before I would get in embrace and start feeling from the inside the response of the follower, suddenly I couldn't, therefore I had to prepare a lot more exercises. So in a funny way, the online lessons are very fruitful for the person receiving the lesson, because once the lesson is finished, they can continue practicing this exercise. So in a typical online private lesson situation, in a normal way, I would easily go give maybe 5, 7, 8 or even 10 exercises that we try together to highlight a problem. Could be from technique to or balance or anything else. And the student can continue to practice. So it's something that they can keep, and therefore it can be very, very useful in the long term.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Maybe I have a question.
Oh, now it's your turn, guys. We have questions for you. You didn't expect it. You didn't see this coming.
Absolutely.
Sorry. Oops.
So my question to everyone watching is there anything that you would like us to do and to prepare for tango to help you?
I also have one question.
You have a question, yes.
Yes.
We have, as you know, we have 2 weekly classes on a Wednesday evening and a Sunday afternoon to explore a concept. It could be from, today was about dancing on Torino, it could be anything. On Friday we thought we'd do more technique, so people are really working on their own bodies and technique and styling. And on Tuesday we had the idea to have a bit of a workout, so that there's no technique, no dancing, it's just like sweating, like having a bit of fun. So maybe you have other ideas, and maybe you would like us to do something for you, and we'd be very pleased to know if you think that you need something, and we can help you.
So my question for all of you is, if you would have to choose one positive thing about this coronavirus situation, what would it be? Just one thing. And let us know, because we want to know. I want to know. You don't look like you want to know. I want to know.
I have to think.
It's for them anyway. So guys, we are almost running out of time. Again, it went very quickly. What do you guys think if we would do another one? Maybe something to contemplate?
Yes.
To do a second edition of Coffee Time.
I'd be open for that. So I think when we run our lessons, always feel free to keep like sending some feedback. Now the best, if you want if you want to be sure that we have real feedback to you, is best maybe to send an email or message, because sometimes there's so much going on in the thread that we might miss some of the parts here.
Yes.
So if you want, send us an email or send us, there is here, I don't know if you see, there's our WhatsApp group. Oh, they can't see. All right.
Oh, they can't see. But guys, if you actually have an idea, if you guys actually drop your questions in the chat, we will be able to see them. Or...
Okay. This is, you can probably pause the video to get it. This is the WhatsApp group that we have. You can always send your questions there, tango related. And this is also where we post our latest classes or videos. So this is what you can actually get reached out to if you want to, and to get into the community.
Okay, so anything else to say?
Well, maybe
I'm amazed at how fast, again, it just always go very fast.
I know. It's good. It's very nice. So, our big, heartfelt thanks to you for joining today. I hope that it was useful. Of course, we are always open to other questions. Maybe as a last little thing I'd like to say is, you know, is there like something that they can do in terms of routine in their day? So what I would recommend you do is think of this as splitting into different themes: balance, styling, musicality. I touched upon this a bit earlier, and see how you can touch all three in your daily routine. Of course, your routine will depend on you, where you are as a dancer. It will have to adapt to you know, where you are in your training, in your journey. But these three elements should be applicable to everyone. So this hopefully will help.
Yes, definitely.
So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your love, guys. We're sending all the love we can back to you, wherever you're watching this live from. We're going to see you very soon again, because on Tuesday we're back.
Workout.
Workout, 12:30 p.m. UK time.
Okay, have a great evening and a great week ahead. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
See you
Bye.
guys. Bye.